Jinger Duggar recently shared a deeply personal reflection on her family's first television special, offering a rare glimpse into the early days of their public life. Looking back at this milestone moment, she recalled how surreal it felt to have cameras capturing every aspect of their daily routines. For Jinger, the experience was both exciting and overwhelming. Exciting because it marked the beginning of a new chapter for the Duggars, but overwhelming due to the intense scrutiny that came with being in the spotlight. She described the production as an all-consuming event, where even the most mundane aspects of their lives were turned into entertainment for millions of viewers. As she revisited those memories, Jinger also touched on the broader impact the show had on her family dynamic. The pressure to maintain a certain image weighed heavily on them, shaping not only how they interacted with each other, but also how they presented themselves to the world. While the show brought financial stability and opportunities, it also created an environment where authenticity sometimes took a backseat to what was expected of them. Jinger admitted that, in hindsight, some of the decisions made during that time seemed questionable, particularly when it came to parenting methods. This realization prompted her to examine the role her mother, Michelle Duggar, played in shaping their upbringing under the camera's gaze. Jinger described her mother, Michelle Duggar, as a woman deeply committed to her beliefs, especially when it came to raising children. From a young age, the Duggar children were expected to adhere to strict rules rooted in conservative Christian values. One of the most notable aspects of Michelle's parenting style was the emphasis on obedience and submission. Jinger recalled how disobedience, even something as minor as talking back, was met with swift consequences. Discipline was often handled through corporal punishment, specifically spanking, which Michelle believed was necessary to instill respect and humility in her children. Jinger admitted that while she understood her mother's intentions, looking back, she questioned whether such rigid discipline truly benefited the children or simply suppressed their individuality. Beyond physical discipline, Michelle also enforced a highly structured lifestyle that left little room for personal expression. Every aspect of the Duggar children's lives, from their education to their social interactions, was carefully monitored and controlled. Homeschooling was a cornerstone of their upbringing, with Michelle designing a curriculum that prioritized religious teachings over traditional academic subjects. Jinger noted that while this approach ensured they remained grounded in their faith, it also limited their exposure to diverse perspectives and real-world experiences. Additionally, the children were discouraged from forming close friendships outside the family, reinforcing a sense of isolation that Jinger later realized had long-term effects on her and her siblings' ability to navigate social situations beyond their tightly knit household. The presence of cameras in the Duggar household significantly influenced how Michelle managed the family's daily life and reinforced her parenting methods. With every action potentially broadcast to millions, Michelle became increasingly focused on maintaining a carefully curated image of order and discipline. Jinger recalled how her mother would subtly adjust behaviors or stage certain moments to ensure they aligned with the expectations of the show's audience, whether it was ensuring the house remained spotless at all times or orchestrating elaborate family gatherings that showcased their strong Christian values. Everything had to appear picture perfect for the cameras. This constant need for control led Michelle to enforce even stricter rules than before. Jinger explained that minor infractions, which might have been overlooked in private, suddenly carried heavier consequences when there was a film crew present. She remembered instances where her mother would reprimand a child more severely than usual simply because the cameras were rolling, reinforcing the idea that discipline was not just about correcting behavior, but also about maintaining the family's public image. Over time, this created an atmosphere where the children learned to perform rather than simply be themselves, adjusting their actions based on the knowledge that millions of people were watching their every move. Looking back, Jinger admitted that many of the parenting methods once accepted as normal now seem questionable, especially in light of her own experiences as a parent. The strict discipline, lack of personal freedom, and constant surveillance created an environment where individuality was often stifled. As she raised her own children, Jinger found herself consciously making different choices, prioritizing open communication over blind obedience and encouraging independence rather than conformity. She acknowledged that while her parents genuinely believed they were doing what was best for their children, the reality was that their approach left lasting emotional impacts. Some of her siblings struggled with anxiety, self-doubt, and difficulty navigating the outside world after years of isolation. Jinger also recognized that her mother's parenting style was shaped by a combination of deeply held religious convictions and the pressures of being in the public eye. However, she emphasized that awareness of these influences does not excuse the harm that was done. By reflecting on her upbringing, she hopes to break cycles of authoritarian parenting and foster healthier relationships with her own children. This shift in perspective has allowed her to move forward with greater empathy, not only for herself, but also for her parents, whom she now sees as flawed individuals trying to do what they believed was right. Reflecting on her journey, Jinger expressed a deep appreciation for the lessons she has learned since stepping away from the intense structure of her childhood. Embracing a more balanced approach to parenting, she has found fulfillment in fostering open dialogue and mutual respect within her own family. Rather than enforcing rigid rules, she encourages her children to express their thoughts and emotions freely, believing that this nurtures confidence and resilience. She acknowledged that letting go of the fear-based discipline she grew up with was not an easy transition, but one that ultimately strengthened her relationship with her children. In addition to her evolving parenting philosophy, Jinger has also worked to rebuild her sense of self outside of the expectations imposed on her growing up. She credits therapy, meaningful conversations with her spouse, and time spent away from the public eye as key factors in her healing process. Through writing and speaking openly about her experiences, she has found empowerment in reclaiming her narrative. Jinger hopes that by sharing her story, she can offer support to others who may be navigating similar struggles, proving that growth and change are always possible even in the face of deeply ingrained beliefs. Jill Duggar, a familiar face in the public eye due to her family's reality show and subsequent media presence, recently took a significant step back from social media. This decision was not made lightly. It came after a period of reflection on her personal life and the overwhelming demands of maintaining an online persona. In a candid statement shared with her followers, Jill expressed her need for a break, emphasizing the importance of prioritizing her family over the digital realm. She articulated that stepping away from platforms like Instagram and Facebook would allow her to focus on nurturing her relationships at home, particularly with her husband and children. This hiatus resonated deeply with many of her fans, who have followed her journey through various life changes. The response from her audience was overwhelmingly supportive, with numerous comments expressing understanding and encouragement for her choice. Followers praised her for recognizing the value of family time in a world that often glorifies constant connectivity. Many shared their own experiences of feeling overwhelmed by social media, highlighting how refreshing it is to see a public figure advocate for mental well-being and familial bonds. The broader implications of Jill's decision extend beyond her personal narrative. In a society increasingly dominated by screens and digital interactions, her choice serves as a reminder of the significance of real-life connections. By stepping back, she encourages others to evaluate their own relationship with technology and consider the benefits of unplugging. This moment marks a pivotal shift in the conversation around social media use, prompting individuals to reflect on how they balance their online lives with the richness of personal experiences. Ultimately, Jill's break highlights the growing movement towards mindfulness in our digital interactions, urging everyone to prioritize what truly matters: the people we love and the moments we share with them. Jill Duggar's decision to take a break from social media was driven by a deep emotional reckoning with the toll that constant digital engagement had taken on her mental well-being. As a public figure who has spent much of her life under scrutiny, the pressure to maintain an active online presence became increasingly burdensome. In her message to followers, she acknowledged that while social media allowed her to connect with fans and share glimpses of her life, it also created a cycle of expectation, both from herself and from others, that left little room for genuine rest or privacy. The need to constantly produce content, respond to messages, and manage her digital image weighed heavily on her, making it difficult to fully engage with her family without distractions. Beyond the external pressures, Jill admitted that the digital landscape had begun to affect her self-perception. Like many who navigate social media, she found herself comparing her everyday life to the seemingly perfect images curated by others. Even though she understood that most online personas were carefully edited versions of reality, resisting the urge to measure her own worth against those ideals proved challenging. This internal struggle led to moments of self-doubt, where she questioned whether she was living up to expectations, both her own and those of her audience. Taking a step back, she explained, was not just about reducing stress, but about reclaiming a sense of authenticity in her daily life. Additionally, Jill recognized the impact that her online habits had on her children. As a mother of 6, she wanted to ensure that her attention remained focused on them, rather than being divided between parenting and managing her digital presence. She described instances where she caught herself reaching for her phone instead of being fully present during family moments, something she did not want to normalize for her kids. Her goal was to model a balanced lifestyle, one that valued real-world interactions over virtual validation. By stepping away from social media, she aimed to create a more intentional environment at home, where quality time was not overshadowed by the distractions of the digital world. Ultimately, Jill's break was not simply about taking a vacation from posting updates or sharing photos, it was about redefining her priorities. She emphasized that this pause was not an abandonment of her platform, but rather a necessary reset. The emotional weight behind her decision reflected a growing awareness among public figures and everyday users alike that mental health and family should always come first. Jill Duggar's decision to step back from social media aligns with a broader cultural movement toward mindful disconnection, a growing awareness of the need to set boundaries between digital engagement and real-life experiences. In recent years, conversations surrounding the psychological effects of constant connectivity have gained momentum, with experts and influencers alike advocating for periodic digital detoxes. Many individuals, including celebrities, have spoken openly about the emotional exhaustion that comes from maintaining an online presence, leading to a shift in how people perceive their relationship with technology. Jill's break reflects this evolving mindset, reinforcing the idea that stepping away from social media is not a sign of withdrawal, but rather a conscious effort to reclaim control over one's time and energy. This trend is particularly evident among parents who are navigating the challenges of raising children in a hyper-connected world. As more families recognize the impact of screen time on interpersonal relationships, there is an increasing emphasis on fostering meaningful, distraction-free moments. Jill's acknowledgement of how social media affected her ability to be fully present with her children mirrors concerns raised by parents across different walks of life. By choosing to prioritize family over digital obligations, she joins a growing number of individuals who are redefining success not by online engagement metrics, but by the depth of their personal connections. Moreover, Jill's decision underscores a larger societal shift toward valuing authenticity over curated perfection. The pressure to maintain an idealized online persona has led many to question the sustainability of such expectations. Influencers and public figures, once seen as symbols of constant visibility, are now embracing periods of absence, encouraging their audiences to do the same. This movement toward intentional living emphasizes that taking breaks, whether from work, social media, or public scrutiny, is not only acceptable but necessary for overall well-being. Jill's experience serves as a reminder that even those in the spotlight must sometimes step away to reconnect with what truly matters. While Jill Duggar's decision to step away from social media brought a sense of relief, it also introduced new challenges as she adjusted to life without the constant pull of digital engagement. One of the most immediate difficulties was learning how to fill the void left by her usual routine. Social media had become a habitual part of her day, scrolling through updates, responding to messages, and crafting posts, and suddenly removing that structure required intentional effort to redirect her time and energy. At first, she admitted to feeling restless, unsure of how to occupy herself without the instant gratification that online interaction provided. However, rather than falling into idle habits, she used this transition as an opportunity to rediscover activities that had taken a backseat in her busy life. To stay grounded, Jill focused on strengthening her relationships within her household. Without the distraction of her phone, she was able to engage more meaningfully with her children, participating in their daily routines and spending quality time together without interruptions. Simple pleasures such as reading books, playing games, or going on nature walks became central to her days, allowing her to be fully present in ways she hadn't been before. She also leaned on her husband, Derek Dillard, for support, using their shared commitment to family as a foundation for adjusting to this new rhythm. Their conversations became deeper and more frequent, reinforcing the connection that had initially drawn them together. In addition to focusing on her family, Jill explored creative outlets that helped her process her thoughts and emotions. Journaling became a valuable practice, giving her space to reflect on her experiences and track her personal growth outside the constraints of social media. She also experimented with hobbies that she had previously neglected due to time constraints, finding fulfillment in hands-on activities that required patience and dedication. These efforts not only filled the gap left by her digital absence, but also contributed to a renewed sense of purpose. Through these adjustments, Jill discovered that stepping away from social media was not about isolation, but about refocusing her attention on the relationships and experiences that truly mattered. As Jill Duggar continues her break from social media, she remains committed to personal growth, using this period of intentional disconnection to deepen her understanding of herself and her values. Rather than viewing this time as a temporary escape, she sees it as an opportunity to cultivate lasting habits that will shape her future, both personally and professionally. While she acknowledges the role that social media has played in connecting her with fans and sharing aspects of her life, she is determined to ensure that any future return to these platforms is rooted in purpose rather than obligation. One of the key lessons Jill has embraced during this time is the importance of setting healthy boundaries. She recognizes that while digital spaces can foster community and provide a platform for self-expression, they can also consume time and energy in ways that detract from real-life experiences. Moving forward, she hopes to approach social media with greater intentionality, ensuring that it enhances rather than overshadows her daily life. Whether or not she eventually resumes regular activity online, she is dedicated to maintaining the balance she has cultivated, one that prioritizes her family, mental well-being, and authentic connection over the pressures of constant visibility. Additionally, Jill is exploring ways to channel her experiences into meaningful projects that extend beyond the digital realm. She has expressed interest in writing and speaking about her journey toward mindfulness, hoping to inspire others who may feel overwhelmed by the demands of modern life. By focusing on tangible, long-term goals, she is shaping a path that allows her to grow independently of online validation. This phase of reflection is not just about stepping back, it is about moving forward with clarity, confidence, and a renewed sense of direction.